Welcome to the Thinking Room, where we are young but we are thinking. This is Dhaira Mittal, and this is episode 2 of this podcast. With us today, we have Chirag Agrahari, a second year undergraduate student in business management at Nexus School of Business, where learning goes beyond textbook and focuses on real world business experience. Chirag is currently interning at the energy company Bangalore, working as the founder's office intern. Beyond academics, he is deeply involved in dance, music, theatre, entrepreneurship, debates, and ambience. In the immune circuit, Chirag has built a strong reputation not only as a delegate but as an experienced executive board member. Today we will be discussing on the topic, can teenagers really become entrepreneurs?
First of all, thank you so much, Dharya, for that wonderful introduction. Uh, my overview regarding this topic, that whether or not students as teenagers can be wonderful entrepreneurs, there are a lot of nuances when we talk about this entire concept, because it depends upon what region in India you are currently present, plus what kind of business model you are trying to build, and number three, there are several business ideas, but not most of them are practical. So this implementability is something that we can question upon.
Before we get into a serious discussion, it's time for a second segment called Sell Me This. I am going to give you one completely random item and you have 30 seconds to convince me to buy it. Okay, so the item is this broken stapler.
All right. So let me talk about this broken stapler. It is going to be an excellent product. Why? Because I'm not only talking about the usage of this product to staple two pieces of paper, but rather I'm talking about this in terms of its historical segment. It is standing with someone who is going to build a unicorn 5 years later on, and when it will be known that this was caught by someone who has built an unicorn, then this will be sold for millions, and that you can preserve as a souvenir, my dear friend.
Oh my god, I am really convinced. That are some really good entrepreneur skills. Okay, so let's begin with the biggest question of today's episode. So, in your opinion, can teenagers really become entrepreneurs, or has social media created an unrealistic picture of teenage entrepreneurship?
No, I truly believe that social media, in terms of projecting a very different kind of image of what entrepreneurship is. Yes, it is happening through the social media as of now. But again, out of 100, I truly believe that there are 5 to 10 entrepreneurs who are actually, in terms of their core learning capacities, they are building something. And yes, that should be something that we should always promote.
Yes, I also believe that social media has been a good way for learning entrepreneurship, but it has also been very misleading in some ways or the other. Okay, so what's one business skill every teenager should start learning today that schools don't often teach?
I think your learning should always go beyond your textbooks, and rather than learning all the concepts, derivations, theories, and the numericals from your textbooks, which we do in our schools to pass our boards and to get an excellent percentage. That's not one aspect that we should always take care of. Rather, to develop hard skills that are going to help in our professional career, whether we land up in as a business owner, as a startup founder, or as pursuing a job in the corporate. I think those hard skills are something that every student should vouch for. It can be done by doing an internship, it can be done by doing a course from Coursera, or there are a lot of free courses on YouTube from Dhruv Rathi that you can get, pursue them, and build something meaningful.
Okay, so you have been an active MUNer. How are skills that MUN taught you, like negotiation, public speaking, have actually helped you or will help you in the future business path?
Very well said, Dharya. Actually, MUNs as certain, they are not a career in themselves. But let me tell you, the skills, the personality, and the characteristics that you will develop from doing MUNs is something that will definitely help you in business. Why? Because let's say, Dharya, you are standing here today and you are doing this podcast with me, and your research skills, your ability to understand someone's business is 10, but your ability to communicate is 0, then that skill that you are having is not being able to transfer. But on the other hand, let's say someone who is having 10 by 10 in communication skills, but their core learning is 3, 4, or 5, then that person is always going to win. And therefore this concept of MUNs, which helps you to step out of your comfort zone and convey yourself in front of the entire world, that definitely helps.
Yes, I also, as a fellow MUNer, think that it really has developed my communication skills, because I won't be doing this podcast if I would have not participated in MUS, if I would have not opened up to the world.
Very well
Yes.
answered, delegate.
So, sir, you are currently interning, right? So, what has been your biggest reality check so far? What was there something about the business world that surprised you once you experienced it?
All right. Whenever you talk about any business or startup from the superficial level, we think that it will be roses, roses all the way. By that, I mean that when you will enter into your corporate journey, or let's say you're interning in any company, you will always feel that the manager or your bosses are sitting, having a golden spoon ready in front of you, and they're going to treat you as God. But let me tell you, that is the most contrasting thing. When you enter, you will have to take it with a pinch of salt, start doing the real groundwork. Sometimes you may be subject to criticism by your seniors, by your elders, but always take it as constructive criticism. And as I said, take it with a pinch of salt and just keep doing, keep rushing. Trust the process, don't rush the process.
Yes. So, imagine a 15-year-old walks through that door right now, walks up to you with an entrepreneurship dream, rupees 5,000 to invest and no prior experience. What would your advice be for the first month, and what are the biggest mistakes that they should avoid as a teen business owner?
All right. I would answer that in three parts. Number one, do not over rely on AI. One of the biggest mistakes that I have done as an individual last year is my over reliance of, on artificial intelligence models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, or Kima for that matter. Let me tell you, over relying on AI puts your hard skills out of the window. Number two, my advice would be to keep having one skill that will help him or her to outshine other. It may be public speaking, it may be communication, it may be your research, it may be your editing skills, it may be your marketing skills, it may be you present in some session as a speaker, as a keynote speaker. Whatever your skill may be, just continue brushing and polishing that one skill. That's it.
Yes. So, don't you think that one can be a jack of all trades?
No, I see now that that opens a different ambit of discussion altogether. But jack of all trades, master of none. I believe that you should have one primary skill that makes you differentiate from the crowd. But yes, you should always be fairly good at other things also. On the other hand, if you will try to become a jack of all trades and giving 100% on all of the different sectors, then that one thing that will differentiate you from the crowd, I think that will subside somewhere or the other.
Okay, so now let's move into a fun segment, a rapid fire round. You have 2 seconds to answer each question.
Sure.
Okay, so startup or corporate?
Startup.
Profit or passion?
Passion.
Shark Tank or MUN?
Controversial one, but yes, MUN.
Books or experience?
Experience.
Risk or stability?
Stability.
Elon Musk or Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs.
Public speaking or negotiation?
Public speaking.
Build a product or build a brand?
Build your personal brand.
Teamwork or solo founder?
Teamwork.
AI entrepreneur or traditional entrepreneur?
AI entrepreneur.
Instagram marketing or word of mouth?
Instagram marketing.
Start a business at 14 or get a degree first?
Start a business at 14.
One great idea or one great team?
One great,
Idea or one great team?
one great idea.
Okay, wow, some really good choices there. Now let's again move on to the questions. If a parent of a teen is really skeptical about the teenager starting a business, like they are not allowing them to do so, what would you actually say to change their mind based on your own experience?
I think parents should always be supportive to their wards whenever they pursue this entire highway of entrepreneurship, because it is not something that you learn in a month or a two or even years. There have been entrepreneurs, I believe, the owner of Amazon the owner of Apple, they all have been struggling for years, and then you today know them as the founders of those specific brands. So if their parents would not have promoted them or supported them in their journey when they were at their lowest, then I think we would not have an iPhone which is shooting our podcast today.
So, do you think that would convince parents to let their child start a business?
Of course, I think direction should be there, but also your student should be your ward should be serious enough to pursue that with all its heart religiously. If not, then tame him or her to pursue a good undergrad course first, complete their schooling first, and then they can start a business. I think it is a very subjective concept and not an objective one, and differs from individual to individual.
Okay, so you say that to a parent, and the parent agrees. But if the teenager is too scared to start, what would you tell them?
Okay, so I think for teenagers, again, the theory is same in all the parameters of life, which I am truly fond of. If you have to learn swimming, then you first have to step into the pool. If you will keep on reading lectures or theories of swimming, then you will not be able to become a good swimmer. Similarly, if one has to intend to start a business, not only the grassroots should be there in developing that idea execution within their brain, but actually starting to work on that idea, whether they are 13, 14, 15, 16-year old. We all are watching Shark Tanks, and we see that there are founders having they are of age 17 or 18, and they are still on the national television having a brand of a million, a startup, a unicorn. I think something that we can take away from Shark Tank as well.
Okay, so now that same teenager, his school proposed his school comes to you and says that we are adding a compulsory business subject. What would you suggest them and why?
If they're adding a compulsory business subject, then I would be the happiest one, because let me tell you my story. I was a science student and I was pursuing entrepreneurship as a side subject. Who knew that that side subject of entrepreneurship would land me up in a business school? And if that can happen with me, I think this element of business subject in the academic curriculum of, let's say, 11th or 12th standard students, I think it would be a great addition to their entire learning experience, irrespective of their streams, because end of the day, business is something that is applicable in all things that we have in the world here today, from cinema line to production to manufacturing.
Okay, so if say you go bankrupt tomorrow, what business would you start and why?
In case, God forbid, but in case if I go bankrupt tomorrow, then the first thing that I would do is to start working as a social media intern, because, in my opinion, one of the key strengths I know is marketing, is brand language and communication. If I can work in a startup, in a company where they want to hire me as a marketing intern, I think I can well understand their client database, what they want to pitch in front of the customer, their entire description of the products. I think that delivery can be done by them, and I would definitely love to work as a marketing intern in that regard.
That's a really good idea. I say, okay, so before we wrap up, it's time for a final segment. Boon or Bane? Here's how it works. I'll name a business trend, startup idea, or a concept, and you have to tell me whether you think it's a boon or a bane for young entrepreneurs. You have to pick one and then give a quick reason why. Ready?
Ready?
So let's begin. Artificial intelligence in business.
Boon. It makes something that can be done in a month in 10 minutes.
Starting a business while still in school.
Starting a business while still in school, it's definitely a boon, because it teaches you failure when you're not 20 or 22, but when you are 14 or 15.
Social media influencers launching brands.
Social media influencers, I think it's a mixed one, but I would slightly incline towards Bane, because not every influencer can become a brand owner in that regard, because I think product line is something that you have to reinforce firstly.
Okay, so a family business. What about a family business?
Family business is of course a boon. See, again, a mixed opinion, depends from individual to individual, but if you have a family business, you have a good base to start up, you can expand your family business, but at the same time it is a bane also, because if you too much rely on the hierarchy, on your previous, as we say, baap dada ka business, then I think that kida of entrepreneurship within you will not survive much longer.
So, going to Shark Tank.
Going to Shark Tank is of course a boon. I have a very strong opinion in that regard. If there were 100 Shark Tank pitches in this year's season of Shark Tank, then out of those 100, if let's say 25 got their deals, the 75 different brands, if they did not get their deals, doesn't matter, because outside when they come out of Sony, then they're definitely going to get their deals from angel investors.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so using only online courses and YouTube for learning business.
Only is again a controversial word, but you should often refers to courses by Coursera and the free courses that are available on YouTube to get the skills, because again they are free. All they require is your attention, because attention is the key currency in today's world, not even money. That I am truly a fond believer of.
Okay, so having a co-founder.
It is definitely a boon. Aman Gupta has his co-founder, and therefore the energy that we see of Aman Gupta transferring into the product lineup of both of the earphones, of the speaker that we see in our homes, that is very prevalent here today. A co-founder always balances the energy of the main founder, and I think that is very very much required in entrepreneurship.
Okay, so copying an existing business idea and improving it.
I think it's a bane. Kindly do not copy someone's idea, but I think you should reinvent of your own. And the best ideas come from an amalgamation of 10 different business ideas.
Okay, so last one, participating in ambience.
Participating in Amiens is of course a boon. I have been doing Amiens for over 4 years now, and all they have taught me is not only public speaking but meeting new people all across India. I've been to Nepal and meeting so many good people, fostering connections that last beyond their speeches in the committee. I think that leaves an impact, and it makes you happy as a human also. That is very very important.
Okay, so that was Boon and Bain. Some very interesting takes there. Okay, last question before we wrap up. 5 years from now, if I invite you back to this podcast, what do you hope we'll be talking about?
I think we'll be talking about why I'm not allowing different employees in my company, and why there are only 10 top employees pan India in a unicorn that has been built by me.
Oh, so how many years from now do you plan to starting your business?
I plan to start my business within the next year itself, when I am equipped with the skills that are required for having one. And when I do so, definitely you shall be the individual who I will be calling upon to share this podcast with.
Okay, great, great. So, okay, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. A huge thank you to Chirag for joining us and sharing his experience. We hope this conversation showed that entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a company, it's about developing the mindset to solve problems, take initiative, and keep learning.